This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. I'm back in Perth after 10 days in Sydney, where I got to see the Dragons win a grand final, and last night, in front of 16,500 crazy fans, I saw the Dragons hand the Dolphins their biggest ever loss. Jesse, let's start with that crowd. How impressed were you with the turnout at WIN Stadium after the Dragons were so poor last week?
Yeah, that was a good, really good turnout. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the hill that fall, and with the rain surrounding WIN Stadium as well. I didn't expect that big of a crowd, but yeah, obviously a lot of people wanted to see how the new team, the Dolphins, would go, and just see how they handle the occasion. But yeah, after the last 2 disappointing weeks, the fans wanted to see what they were really about. Hopefully the team could turn around. Yeah, boy, did they do that last night, and hopefully they can go on with that for the rest of the season. But yeah, that's a big turnaround from where they were at last week.
Yeah, no, it was certainly sensational to see that many people there. They had more people at that game than was at Cogra. When I think there was certainly a happier atmosphere around Dragons fans in the lead up to that one. So I was incredibly surprised to see that many people at WIN Stadium, and yeah, it was really good to see. We don't have Hasman on, so we can't go into his heroes and villains segment just yet. Hopefully, Matty can get on a little bit later on tonight. So we'll move into, we'll steal a bit of his thunder, as we tend to do whenever we talk about the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting. For me, it's always hard doing the 3-2-1s. It's always hard narrowing it down to three players, whether we play really well or really poorly. But again, I found this very, very hard to narrow it down to the three players, and I'm sure all the panel members did too. I think the three was pretty easy. It was almost unanimous, with Blake Lawrie topping the meters for the forwards, also topped the tackle count, as well as scoring a try. So rather than talk to those that did give Block of the three, I'm going to go to Chloe. Chloe, you were the only person on the panel that couldn't find a single vote for the big fella. Can you talk us through why Blake Lawrie wasn't in our best three players, in your opinion?
He was very close. I was changing it every time, each minute. I was like, okay, who's going? And I actually forgot to put him in. I was going to do a last minute vote, and then I couldn't. So because I already put my first 3-2-1, but they both played very well. I thought Mika did, because he got that extra try as well, and I just thought Mika was really good on the field. Blocker was too, but yeah, it was just too hard. So, and I nearly got a divorce over it. So, because we were fighting, because it was like I was saying Blocker, and then my partner was saying no, Rafa. Then this one, so yeah, I would have put So I probably choose Blocker, but you did really well yesterday. It's just I thought Rafa did a bit more, a bit more.
I got to admit, when I did see your votes come through, I was surprised that Blocker didn't get your three, because I was sitting next to you. And I reckon after 5 minutes, you said, well, Blocker's already got my three, lock it in.
Yeah.
It was about 5 minutes into the game. You'd already made up your mind, but somewhere along the line, you changed it.
I know I did. I should have just kept Blocker and put Rafa, maybe down two. There was just too many good players on the day. I was like, I was getting really nervous. I said, can we have a top four?
I think after that performance, we could have had a top 13, and you still would have been devastated to leave a couple out. But
yep.
Second in the voting, with what I thought was his best performance of the year, was Ben Hunt. Big T, you had him as our best on the night. Talk us through your favourite Ben Hunt moments in that match.
Oh, mate, there's hundreds of them. He's 14 runs for 124 metres. That's exceptional. 6 tackle breaks. Like, he was bouncing off players like a pinball machine. 326 kicking metres. His kicks, his passes. That pass to Ravalava to score the try in the corner. That was a sublime pass. It was just all over the field. And with 7 minutes to go, when Hammer scored in the far corner, from where I was. Ben Hunt was there trying to stop the tackle. That effort at the end, that gave him my 3 points.
Yeah, no, I had Ben Hunt with two votes, and it's the first votes I've given him all season. I thought he was very, very good. He looks back to being the player that he was last season. I don't know that he's had the best start to the year, but I thought it was a very good performance. I thought he controlled things nicely for the team throughout. And as you say, he set up that try with Rubber, where he just put it out in front of him and allowed him to run onto it. And when Rubber's running onto it, you're not going to stop him, as Jack Bostock found out.
I gave Blake Laurie my 2 points, and because look, he ran all day, he made tackles, done everything. And I gave Sully my 1 point. He ran for 198 metres. But we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yes, so we do have a little bit to talk about Moses Sully a bit later, but it was very tight for third in the voting. But back to Chloe again. You did mention it in your last little speech, Chloe, but you gave the 3 votes to Mika Ravalawa. He did score the 2 tries, but was that the only reason why you gave him had him as our best?
Well, like I said in my speech before, everyone was good. Even I just thought when he's running the ball, he is untouchable. Watching him just run past, and it's the same with he's very good for us. So I don't know, when it's just magic. Whenever he gets that ball, it's just and it's another thing, So yeah, I'm sorry, Blocker. I did have you at the start of the game, at the end of the game, but I just didn't.
Yeah. No, all right. So that leaves us the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year. The back-to-back winner of this award, Ben Hunt, after finishing second in the voting year this weekend, he moves up into second overall behind Blake Laurie. Blake Laurie sitting on top of the overall leaderboard. Tyrell Sloan has so far been the Dragons' third best player this season, according to our panel of voters. Jesse, I suppose, does that overall order of the top 3 at this early stage of the season, does that surprise you a little?
No, they've been probably our 3 best players. I think Tyrell Sloan continues to get better with every game. I thought he was electrifying last night. That try he scored, outrunning the hammer and had that room to move. He looks like he's enjoying his footy, and he's built up his confidence again. And that can only be a good thing for the team going forward, because if we're going to do anything this year, we need him firing and getting his confidence up. And that's great to see, loving his footy and letting him play. Letting him play eyes up footy, and hopefully he can get better and we can produce what we know he can, because he's an exciting young talent. And, it's great to see him enjoying his footy, and hopefully keep that up.
Yeah, no, just I suppose for the record, your top 3 is a little different. It's basically those 3 players, but in a different order. You've got Sloan on top, Ben Hunt in second, and then you've got Little and Blake Laurie in equal third from your vote so far. But I think as you said, those 3 players certainly up there with the Dragons' best so far this season. All right, we move into a little bit of an advertisement now for our Patreon site. So www.patreon.com/the Mad Dragons Vodcast. You can get some merchandise on there that is only available through becoming a Patreon subscriber. There's a couple of different tiers, starting from $4.50 a month. You can get the Mad Dragons Vodcast hat, you get the Stubby Cooler, and you also get the Come On Dragons fans fire up bumper stickers. So jump onto Patreon, support the Mad Dragons Vodcast in any way you can. It's very much appreciated. You'll get a shout out every week on the show. All right, moving into some moments of the match. I'm going to mess up the order a little bit here, so I'll go to Muzz. The team was finalised an hour before kickoff with a few changes to the team named on Tuesday. Junior Amone named at 6. Jacob Little got the start at 9, and Jack DeBellin overcome his calf issues to take his place on the bench. Which of these changes do you feel had the biggest impact on the result?
I think for sure Jack with his defence in that middle. There was a couple of times we defended really, really well early on in their faces. The line speed was better than I've seen it this year. But when the Dolphins started to get a bit of a run and a couple of runs up the middle, Jack was there to cut them down. You know, in the last few weeks, that's what we've been missing. And the first couple of times that they looked like they were going to cut up the middle, JDB, he was there, just cut down like a tree. So I think that was a big difference there, especially at the back end of the game as well. When we're only 12 points up, to get that defence and keep that defence to let the boys start attacking. But there's certainly Little coming starting as well, I think. And by come on sort of later in the game and did played a little bit better than he normally does. But certainly starting that game got us the ascendancy, even though it was tight in the first half. But I reckon Jack was the biggest difference there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think it's been something we've been missing so far has been that defense through the middle of the field. Has been really soft. It's been a little flimsy, and I think there's still some issues defensively that the club has, despite the fact we didn't concede too much. I don't know that the Dolphins threw a great deal at us. I don't know that we got all the answers to all the questions that we've got. We'll get some bigger tests than that in games to come. But Jack de Belin definitely makes a big difference to us defensively. So, I think that was huge. And Jacob Little, I haven't been too disappointed with him coming off the bench. I think he comes off the bench and he has a great impact. But I thought he played a really good role starting as well. I don't think he was quite as dynamic when he's up against a fresh defensive line, but he was still. He was still a class above the other guy that we usually have starting there. So, I think him playing as many minutes as possible right from the start, I think that's always going to be a good thing for us. Big T, I think there were a few turning points in this match that I'd like to discuss, but about 25 minutes into the game, the score was level at 6-all. And the Dragons got a penalty about 15, 20 metres in from touch. Now, normally in that situation, they take the 2 points, but for whatever reason, on this occasion, they didn't. What do you think? What was it that possessed the Dragons to go for the try? And when Blocker scored from that set, did you feel that was an important moment in the game?
I thought it was a bit of an in-your-face to Wayne Bennett style play. Wayne Bennett was always take the shot, take the shot, take the shot. And we sort of said, no, we're not going to take the shot anymore. We're going to go for the try here. And like I said, Blocker did score a very good, well-run try by him.
Yeah, well, we saw some of that Wayne Bennettisms with a couple of penalty goals from 40 out from the Dolphins, didn't we? One that missed and another one
that's right, yeah.
Near half time, but they would have had a full set to attack our line and took the 2 points instead. A couple of tactical errors there from the Dolphins. Taking the 2 when they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's a bit of a Bennettism, but I think that was a major turning point in the game, and just showed the Dolphins that we were more superior.
Yeah, definitely. Right, going back in time a little bit, Jesse. The injury to Anthony Milford pretty early in the game, with O'Sullivan already missing and no other genuine halves in their 17. Did you think this was pivotal to the Dragons' win, or we would have won even if Milford had stayed on the field?
I think, losing Milford, they had no direction going forward. Katoa's still young in his career, so he doesn't know how to steer a side around in his early part of his career. But I thought they lost direction once Milford gone off, and then they fell away from there. And I think they did well to stay with us at 12-8 at half time, and then. As at halftime, we were getting a bit worried. Here we go again. Like the second half curse. I thought you guys thought, will they come out of the second half? The way they came out of the second half was quite. Losing Milford did really hurt their chances. And as Wayne said, he's only got really one option left. So losing Milford and having no half on the bench, that really hurt them. that they really lack direction and leadership in the halves there.
Yeah, you sort of alluded to the next question there, Jesse. I mean, a lot made of Griffin's halftime speeches, but leading just 12-8 heading into the sheds, were you concerned about, what the second half might hold for us?
Yeah, like based on the last 2 weeks, definitely. Like even last year, we had we'd be in the games at halftime, and we play with a lot of intensity, and I don't know if what he says at halftime or what they do. That when you do see the cameras in the sheds at halftime, it doesn't look like he says a lot. I don't know what he said last night, but yeah, they looked completely. They looked like they went up another level than the second half last night. So I know it's not. It's Dolphins aren't one of the better sides in the competition, but we've got to see if they can continue that in the coming weeks because it's one game, but they've got to keep it going.
Yeah,
that was the first complete performance they've put in all season, I think.
I'll let you all in on a little secret. I'll tell you what happened. The boys were heading into the sheds at halftime, and I yelled out to them. I said, "No, don't go into the sheds. Come over and have a chat to the Mad Dragon." And I got them fired up. They went out there and went on with the job. So that's definitely what happened. We'll increase the myth there. But Muzz, I'll go to you again for this. As the second half got underway, I know a lot of Dragons fans were already a little apprehensive. The Dolphins put in an awkward kickoff that Matty Feeney, I don't know how he picked it up right on his bootlaces, didn't knock it on. Then in that same set of 6, Josh Kerr appeared to try and play the ball too quickly, came up with an error, got all tangled up in the ruck with Jacob Little, and Sutton blew a penalty in our favour. So there's a couple of things right at the start of the second half that could easily have gone against us. If either of those things had gone against us, do you think that may have been telling in the way we performed for the rest of that half?
Could well have been like
that was for Muzz, mate. But
oh, sorry,
I was about to go. Yeah. Look, absolutely. Like what we we're just saying about our second half performances coming out after half time. If he knocks that ball on, if we get a penalty against us straight away, we've all seen how the boys drop their head when things don't go their way, especially with refereeing decisions. But that was a great pickup by Matty, and the penalty. Yeah. Look, he got up to play the ball, but his hands were all over him when he got up to play the ball. So there's no doubt it was a penalty. I had to have another look at that just to make sure. But look, it's just those little things that, like you said, if he did knock it on,
just because you say it was definitely a penalty, Muzz. I mean, we've definitely seen referees say that's a knock on. Like you've tried to play it too quickly. Like it doesn't matter what we look at and go, what should have been a penalty, and we got one. Like I've seen 100 of them go against the player for dropping it.
Yeah, and normally we would be sitting here, and that goes against us.
Yeah.
So to get those things, mate, we'll take it. Don't worry about that, and we did. And look, anything could happen if it didn't happen, but it did, and we got a bit of ascendancy from that.
Yeah, no, it was nice to have a couple of things go our way. I thought a few things probably went against us in the first half with the officiating, but I thought I don't know whether the referee's coach had a word to Sutton at half time, but there seemed to be a couple of little things that could have gone against us that didn't in that second half. So that was always nice when a few things go our way. Chloe, with about half an hour left to play, Moses Mbai takes the field to replace Jacob Little. Were you fretting at this point and fearful that he could halt our momentum and let the Dolphins back into the contest?
I wasn't for him, but for the whole team, because the Brisbane game, I always fret at 10 when it's 10 minutes to go, and I try and give them good energy. Come on, boys, come on, just keep going. I'm like, no, but I think he did really well. 198 meters. That's like great.
Oh, that's the other Moses.
I'm so sorry.
Moses Mbai.
Oh, him. Yeah, I was really okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to go back. I was thinking of Sully in my head. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Back to being professional. No, yeah, I was actually fretting because I feel like he doesn't bring the energy or doesn't bring anything. But then apparently people are praising him. And I'm like, why are we praising him? I'd rather have Little on for more than like 60 minutes. I want him to be try and be like an 80-minute man. So yeah, I was a bit fretful in case something happened and they let in the Dolphins again, and we would have not won, and I would not been happy. But yeah, no, I don't really rate Mumbai.
I think, ironically, we actually ran away with the game after Moses came on the field. I thought, again, he looked a lot sharper against a tiring defence and probably had one of his better performances, back playing the role that he probably should be playing all along, coming on as a 14. He's certainly not that lockdown defender that you want to be starting the game and doing the tough stuff in the opening 20 minutes. I don't think that's Moses Mbai's go, really. So, I thought he actually went okay. But certainly when he did come on, I was a little bit scared that he might suck away all the momentum that we built up, and suddenly the Dolphins would be back in the game. But I know you were definitely freaking out, Chloe. With a minute to go and leading by 26, you still thought we were a chance of losing.
Yeah, I always do. I'd get really nervous because of, like, in case they give up or, like the last couple of games, I haven't really shown their, I think last week the Sharks, it was inevitable that they just gave up. But even with the games that we have been in front, sometimes the opposition has come back. So I'm always fretting. I'm like, oh God, it's this time. Just hurry up. Come on, time. Hurry up. Hurry up. So that's me. I'm just a fretter.
We were. I think we're home a long way from full time in this one, which is always a nice feeling when you can put a score on a team. It's not quite as nerve wracking in a game like that. But Big T, something that I thought was a little bit controversial. It was a Dragons home game, and there was a pretty decent milestone reached by a Dolphins player in Jesse Bromwich playing his 300th game. And what I'd like to ask you is do you think it was appropriate for the Dragons at a Dragons home game to mark their 30-metre line with a 300 instead of a 30, and also have that big presentation post-game honouring a player from the opposition team?
No, I don't think so. I think it was a nice gesture towards Bromwich. 300 games is a milestone. It's a huge effort to play 300 games in the NRL. But I think what they should have done, they should have made the 10-metre line as 100 as well. Because Moses Sewell, he played his 100th game. So I don't know why they didn't do that. They should have marked it 100 just for Sewell. But no, it was a great touch. I didn't mind it. A lot of people would think they shouldn't do it, but it's a rather large milestone for a player who's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, mate. I think screw the opposition in all cases, and I was a little bit miffed that at the end of a Dragons home game, that they were doing a big presentation for an opposition player rather than celebrating our win. I think I wonder if it would happen at other clubs.
I don't know. They should have done something for Sully, shouldn't they? Like, was his 100th game? The guy that
100% agree, mate. Like do it. Celebrate your own players and let the Dolphins celebrate Jesse Bromwich at the next Dolphins home game. They can do a big presentation for him then.
It was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with the Dragons, though, isn't it? We're so nice to the opposition. We don't make them.
Well, that's not you asked me last on the Tuesday VOD. Were we going to attack Jack Bostock? And we absolutely did. We smashed the poor bloke. And like a different Dragons team turned up on Saturday night. It wasn't a team that played the last 2 weeks. It was the team that we know they can play that type of football. And it was against a weakened side, but we showed what we can do if we play well.
Yeah, no, I thought we did a really good job on Bostock. Yeah, I felt for the kid a couple of times. He went so close to scoring a couple of times on debut. And Illawarra Junior as well. So it would have been nice to see him do well, but it was also nice to see the Dragons really take it up to him and put pressure on a young kid that would have been feeling plenty of pressure. And I don't know that I've ever seen a player get a welcome to first grade when he didn't have the ball.
What was that? Sorry?
A welcome to first grade when he didn't have the ball. Mika Ravalawa just stamped his bloody boot on his face.
I was just about to say, have we slated in there? We got highlights of Mika Ravalawa versus Jack Bostock because that poor kid didn't have a chance.
Yeah, no, it was a difficult task for him, marking up against one of the blokes that's probably one of the hardest to tackle in the competition.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, I've seen a few people commenting about the way we're using Tyrell Sloan in attack. Now, I thought he was utterly brilliant in some of what he did, and he was a constant threat whenever he got the ball. But all up, just 9 runs in the match. And when you compare that to other fullbacks in the NRL, do you think he could be even more dangerous if we involved him in attack a little bit more frequently?
Yes, definitely. I think he's got to watch the other fullbacks in the game, learn what they're doing best. A lot of the fullbacks have developed a passing game as well, like they're an extra 5'8". That's what the best fullbacks in the game are doing now. And if Tyrell up there with the best fullbacks in the game, he's going to have to learn to be in and around the ball all the time, looking for opportunities, looking to set up his winger or centre, and looking to run off blokes like Hunt Junior Ramon, who returned last night as well. He's got to go looking for the ball and go looking to support any player and pop up everywhere because, again, that's what the best fullbacks in the game do. And they've got to be in and around the ball and looking to exploit opportunities and pointing out weaknesses in the defensive line of the opposition. So, yes, he's on the right track, but I think he can get better than where he's at.
Well, again, I mean, you're sort of putting a lot of that on Tyrell Sloan, but does a lot of it come down to the structure of the Dragons' attack? There's a lot of people saying Ben Hunt looks scared to passing the ball. He doesn't seem to get the ball in when we're playing in shape at all. He hunts around the middle of the ruck, hoping to get a couple of offloads here and there. Other than that, the Dragons just don't seem to structure anything to involve him. So does some of that come down to the way that the team is coached and the way he's coached to involve himself in the game?
I'd probably say so. Like, it didn't look like it. As you said, he didn't. When he did get involved, he looked great. But yeah, he's just not. He's just not. I think it's just like he's seeing when he sees a gap, he comes in and tries to go for a run. But yeah, there didn't seem to be a lot of communication between him and Hunt. But when he did get involved and scored that nice try, running the hammer, like that was a nice try. And yeah, I think if he gets more involved, I think that the Dragon attack will get better. But again, that's something they've got to look at. Hopefully, they can involve him in more plays coming up.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on from that. And Chloe, the last player that I did want to discuss, and you've sort of spoken about him already, and a few people have mentioned his milestone already as well. But bloke played his 100th game in a week that contained some controversy about Sully's admission that he didn't want to come to the club initially. Was that set aside giving his 198-metre barnstorming performance, or is it still an issue having a player at the club that never really wanted to be?
Well, I was the one who initially was getting angry about this. So I reread it and it was actually out of context. He said he had a close-knit over in Manly, but then coming to the Dragons, it was for his family, better off for his family. And also on the 100th, I do agree with you, Donnie, I thought it would have been better to have something for him, for his 100th. I saw his family there. They all had shirts and they had this big banner. And I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. We didn't do anything for him, but we did a 300th, which I think 300 is great. But for all the family to do what they did for him, I just thought well, why can't we do that for our own player? Like, I just felt a bit sad and disappointed in that sense. But I actually think, and this is for every footballer, they go to clubs where they need to be for family, for money, not like where back in the day, it was about passion, loyalty. It's about where you want to go in life. And he's young, but then now he wants to be at the Dragons. They forgot to put that in. So I think that he's still learning at the Dragons. So I don't have a problem now. I did, but I reread the comment. So no, I think he's going really well. And that was a performance. 198. God, I'll have a stitch at 1 meter.
Yeah, no, I thought he came out and showed with his performance that he certainly wants to be there. He clarified the comments that he loves the club now. Like, while he might have had some apprehension at moving down to Wollongong to begin with, moving away from family, moving away from where he was comfortable, he loves the club now, and his performance out there, I thought that showed that in spades. He had an absolute. It was a performance like we saw a lot last year. I don't know that we've seen the best of Moses so far this season, but that was a fantastic showing from him, and hopefully there's plenty more of that to come. All right, we got a question from one of our fans. He actually put it up as a post to take the piss out of a few people, but I'll throw it out there to Big T. I've got a question from James Ginny Gray. I know you've been doing a bit of research on this, but given the Dragons have a superior record at Wollongong, get bigger crowds in Wollongong, and they'll be moving their entire footballing department to Wollongong, JJG wants to know if it's time the Dragons just move full time to the venue and stop playing at Cogra.
I think I know. I think you know what my opinion is on this. And you're going to get me like, I've had a couple of emails saying you're an idiot, but I just passed them over. But no, I think one ground, one team, one board. I think Cogra's just, there's no St. George Juniors anymore. Go down to Wollongong. All our juniors are in Wollongong now. Centre of Excellence will be in Wollongong. Be a whole lot easier to have our whole team in Wollongong, not half the team in Cogra and half the team in Wollongong. They used to have a bus that they used to drive down from Cogra. I can't remember what it was called, if anyone can remember the name of the bus. But yeah.
I think it was the Dragons bus, and I think James Graham used to sometimes drive it.
Yeah, they did, but it had a name. It was a movie they went to see. I can't remember what it was now, but yeah. I think I'll move to Wollongong and have the one ground. Will be a whole lot better. We've got, I think, it's a 62 to 53% win rate at Wollongong to Cogra, if I ever read it right. But we have got a better win rate at Wollongong.
Yeah, Jesse, I think you've got the stats there at hand, mate.
The name of the bus was Tonya.
Tonya, that's right.
Yeah, James
Thank
Graham
you.
came up with the concept, and I think they had, if they broke any rules, they had to do like something, eat hot chili or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
They showed videos of it all the time.
It was funny.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
all of them down in Wollongong, it'll be a better fit, I think.
Yeah, so the win ratio at Cogra is about 62.2, and it's 59.6 at Cogra since the joint venture started in '99. In the last 10 years, it's slightly more in Wollongong, and it's fell away a little bit at Cogra. Obviously, our team hasn't been going that great in the last 10 years, but yeah. But yeah, we've had more success at Wynn Stadium than we've had at the Red V at Jubilee at Cogra.
Yeah, no, Big T, I know you definitely have made your feelings known that you think that we should be based full time out of Wollongong. I personally don't see it happening any time in the next decade or so. But
not in our lifetime.
But again, though, like all these people that whinge and complain and say that, oh, you've got to get to Cogra, but we get 16 and a half on a dreary day in Wollongong and only 15 the week before when the team was a lot more up and about at Cogra. Like, I think a lot more people actually go to the games in Nagong, whereas the Dragons game, no, as we said before, no one actually lives in the area. Everyone's got to travel, and no one can be bothered.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas at Wollongong, they're all local.
I used to love. We talked about it the other day. I used to love going to Cogra and walking down the hill from the train station. All the Dragon supporters walking down, waving their flags, their banners, and everything. Go around, sit on the hill, and it was just a spectacular every time you went to Cogra. But I think Cogra's dying. Unfortunately, I think we've got to go down south.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about the game day experience, it kind of annoys me that the guys on the loudspeaker and the music, they've always got to be playing something. They've always got to have some sort of noise, and it does not allow any atmosphere to develop from the crowd. The crowd doesn't do anything because there's always something coming over the loudspeaker or some bloke trying to get them to chant something they don't want to chant. Like, it doesn't actually allow an atmosphere to develop in the actual ground itself. So, yeah, I found the constant music and noise and the actual ground announcer always yelling stuff over the speaker to actually be detracting to the atmosphere. It didn't add to the atmosphere at all. So I think there's some work to be done from the club in that respect.
Oh yeah, I was dancing around with the music going up the top of the hill there, looking down from the beer tent. Yeah, it's great. It is a great atmosphere at Wollongong, and it's what you make it. It's how you present yourself in the game. You know, like how you make the atmosphere. If you want to make it a party atmosphere, you dance around. You have fun with the people around you.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Muds, you got something to add there?
No, I was just going to ask, so you guys over there, what was the atmosphere like? I think I commented something on it in our chat that it sounded like the atmosphere was really good. It sounded like to me that there was chanting and singing, but there may have just been what you just said, the stuff coming over the PA. But so what was the atmosphere like there?
Well, Wynn Stadium was really good. I mean, certainly once the Dragons got on a bit of a roll and you know, it started to become apparent that we were going to win. Then the crowd really did get into it and started to get behind the boys, and there did start to be a bit of chanting and singing and stuff. But I think, Chloe, you were sitting next to me and going, why don't they do this the whole game? Like, why do they only start doing this when we start winning? Why are they not trying to lift the team earlier in the game when they're actually struggling? And just, it seems a lot of fair weather support there, really.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. No offense to the Dragons Army, I love you, but yeah, like when we had St. Helens over, their army was going 80 minutes, and I could hear them. Ours would only do it for like probably not even 10 minutes each time, or when there's a trial. And I don't think if you're an army, you need to do it for a whole game. You know, my voice has come back, but I lost my voice the other day because I was yelling that hard, and I was like trying. But yeah, I just get annoyed with them. They just do it when they want to. So if you're in the Dragons Army, I apologize, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, I don't care.
It'd be nice if the Dragons Army was a little bit bigger too, and does something a little bit better than the couple of chants you do at the high school bloody sports carnival. Jesse, you've been waiting to say something for a little while.
I just on that too with the crowd reactions. Like, the loudest I heard them was when the referee made some bad calls, like the Jesse Bromwich tackle. A lot of people thought he should have gone, and then when Mark Nichols got marched for 10, he got booed off the ground. Like, that's probably the loudest I heard them all game. And as Chloe pointed out, like when St. Helens were out here playing against us in the trials, out there, their travelling supporters were they outnumbered us. They were singing all night. they do that as well when they have the Super League games. But yeah, our supporters are very, very quiet. I don't know what's happened. Like our army used to be very, very quiet vocal. And when you're here on the hill, you always used to hear St. George. You hear that in and out of games. And when they'd have the ball and they'd start the chants, St. George, St. George. But you don't hear that anymore. I don't know if it's because the team has dropped. They're not the team they once were, being one of the competition heavyweights. I don't know why they're not there. You always used to see the banners like the great St. George team that have nicknames for the players, the coach even. Yeah, you don't even see that now. So I don't know where the Dragons Army are, but show us if you're around. We want to hear your voice.
Yeah, no, I mean they were near us on the hill, and they, as I said, once the game was won, that was when I felt that the army really started to get into the game. That was when they found their voice. For me, I think that's a bit too late. You've got to be doing that pre-game. You've got to be doing that and getting everyone fired up, you know, a fair bit earlier than after the game's already won. But yeah, again, I think that's something that we need to work on in terms of our active support of the club. I think active support is really important. I think the Dragons Army play a pivotal role in getting the crowd involved, and I'd like to see them do more than the bloke on the loudspeaker. We've been joined by Hasman. We've been skipping over your questions all night or giving them to somebody else. So you've completely messed up my agenda, mate. But welcome to the show, mate. Hope you had a good night. You'll have to come off mute, mate. He's new to this.
Yeah, it's my first time. Give me a break. Yeah, that was a good night. Finished a little bit later than I expected, but these things tend to do that.
Well, mate, we've probably covered off on most of what you're going to talk about anyway, but we will go into the greatest segment in the world right now. Let's do this. Hasman, what do you got for us?
So we started this whole mute thing and just it's just messing with my head. Okay, so hero for this week. For me, there was only one choice. Blake Blockalori. Everything he touched just absolutely turned to gold. He's got his third try. He ran for about 600,000 meters. Absolutely outstanding performance. Best forward we've got at the moment, I reckon. The villain will come as a surprise to absolutely no one. Jared Sutton, go back to refereeing school, you absolute idiot. I actually started counting the number of things that he fucked up, and I think I've lost count after about 38. Although he did give that try to Tyrell Sloan that I don't know if you guys have discussed this already, but I think he might have given Tyrell a little bit too long to get the ball down there. I thought for sure we were going to lose that one, but that was just one of 200 mistakes that he made during the game. So yeah, Sutton, time to retire, son. And I did want to just quickly make a mention of Matt Fine as well, who did have 18 runs for 161 meters, 49 post contact and 4 tackle breaks. I thought he played really well. I was almost going to put him into heroes as well, but so that's heroes and villains for this week, Donny.
Yeah, no, I thought Matty Fine was was one of his best, or definitely his best performance I think so far this season. It was really nice to see him do that. I disagree with you, saying Tyrell Sloan try shouldn't have been given. I've never once ever in the history of rugby league seen that call held up. If a player gets it down after 15 seconds, they always give it a try. They always have. I've never seen one where they said, "Oh no, he took too long." I've just never seen that. If they get it down eventually, they always award the try. Like a bloke
I'm not
can
saying it
wrestle.
should have been. I'm just saying I was a little bit surprised that they didn't, because that's the thing they usually get us with.
Yeah, no. As I say, I had him in my multi, so it had to be a try. He had to be awarded.
Try every day of the week. Try every day of the week.
All right, we move into injuries, sin bins, send-offs, possible suspensions, and other changes. Let's start with the only injury that I can think of, and hopefully it's the only injury that's come out of this game, and it's Jaden Sewer, who went off the field with a calf injury and did not return. Muzzer, you'd imagine this keeps him out for a few weeks. How big a loss will this be for the Dragons? And with not a lot of depth in terms of edge forwards, who do you see filling the void on the edge?
It probably will sit a week or two out, you'd imagine. Look, I don't really know. Look, we've got a bench that's sort of been rotating a little bit. I think Josh Kerr has done some good things off the bench in the last couple of weeks. Some really good things. Look, I don't think Sewer has played as good as he did at his best this year. So we're sort of still waiting for him to hit his straps and really get to that level that we know he can. But obviously with Jack back, that's going to help a considerable amount. Look, I don't know who replaces him directly, but like I said, I think our bench. I think you touched on it too. Donny, our bench has been really good, and a couple of times there, some of our best performances have come from the bench. So luckily, we've got a little bit of depth there that we can call on.
Yeah, I think Toby Couchman pretty much went to that edge for most of the game. I think there's every chance that this coming Tuesday we might be talking about Toby Couchman getting his first ever start in the NRL on that edge. Zane Musgrove in the reserve grade game ran for over 200 metres as well. So there's no reason why he can't come straight back into the team onto the bench as well. So he dropped out for 1 week, went back to reserve grade. Yeah, certainly put in the work, put in the numbers in that game, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so I don't think we're in too bad a position. But again, there's not a lot of recognised second rowers that are coming through our side, which is probably why we've got a guy that's a definite middle in Jaden Hunt playing on the edge in reserve grade, because we're trying to manufacture some sort of depth in that position. So it could be interesting if we get any more issues in that particular area. All right, Hasman, one player that didn't front up for this game was Jaden Sullivan. He missed the game with a reported shoulder injury, and most reports are that it's either very minor or didn't exist at all for some reason. Not sure why they would keep him out if he didn't have a shoulder injury at all, but that's what some people are saying. So assuming Bud is fit and available next week, would you bring him back in at 5'8", or are you sticking with Junior Amone?
No, I'm sticking with Junior. I think his kicking game's a little bit more sort of polished than what Bud's is at this point in time. I don't think he did anything wrong yesterday to deserve getting dropped. I'd basically have him as the sort of the bench 9, piss off Mbai, and just basically rotating with Little.
I agree with your conclusion. I don't agree with some of your comments. I actually think Bud's kicking game's significantly more polished than Junior's. I think Junior's kicking game in general is hit and miss. I thought he come up with a couple of good kicks, and he come up with a couple of absolute Barry Crockers. I think Bud's the better player for me, but the issue for me is not
either player. I don't think Sullivan's done anything to deserve getting dropped either. I thought he's been better than Ben Hunt. But there's the issue is Ben Hunt. And I think Junior complements Ben Hunt better because you can't have two guys both trying to control where the play is going and what's happening and where you're placing the ball and where you're going on the field. I think Junior is more that traditional 5'8", where he's got more of a running game. He's he sort of plays that backseat role and lets Ben Hunt run things. And straight away, Junior Ramone comes into the side and Ben Hunt plays his best game of the season. So I don't think that's a fluke.
Well, it's interesting because I listened to the press conference and Hunt was actually saying that Junior actually overrode him a couple of times on which side of the field they were going to go to. Hunt's called for it and Amon's basically gone over the top of him. So maybe he's trying to take a little bit more of a sort of a commanding role and just take a bit of the pressure off Hunt and make sides think, okay, we can't focus everything on Ben Hunt. He may not be getting the ball here, which is basically what we need because that's basically what happened against Cronulla. They crowded Hunt because they knew it was going to him 100% of the time, whereas I think the kicks were pretty evenly split yesterday. So he is starting to call for a bit more ball. So I'd just keep him. Like if it's working, don't fucking change it.
Yeah. I think it's worked for one game. Let's see if it continues to work for a different opposition. Jesse, you've got something to add there? Jesse? Oh, you got your hand up?
Yep. So yeah, well, Hunt did say in that press conference too. So this is exactly what he said about Junior. So he said Junior gets busy. He's a very confident young kid. He just likes to get his hands in the game and get his hands on the ball a lot. And he's very confident. They have that combination too. They played together a lot last year. So he loves having Junior partner him in the halves.
Yeah.
No offense to Bud, but that's what he said in the press conference last night.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely a strong case to keeping Junior there. I think he complements Ben Hunt better. My big issue with Junior is that he is very, very suspect defensively. Once again, he topped the missed tackle count and struggled a little bit defensively. So that's probably the issue, is that he becomes a real target for oppositions to run their big players at. But that was an issue all last year as well, and he did seem to get better. But I don't know that he's had the best start in that area this season either. And I thought some of his timing was a little bit out. There was a couple of times where he sort of got tackled with the ball and went backwards and sucked momentum out of sets a couple of times. So I think the fact that we won papered over a lot of the cracks of some of the things that Junior actually didn't quite get right. Certainly that, he set up the try, got a lucky bounce with one of his kicks and forced a line dropout, which is good. But I think for me, Bud Sullivan's been more impressive than Junior was last night. And Bud is the one, for me, that doesn't deserve to be dropped. I don't think it's Junior that has earned that right with one, okay performance. I don't think he certainly stood out for me. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think Junior will be named when we're talking about Team List Tuesday. 3 players put on report in Jack DeBellin for burrowing in below the knees with a tackle, Mika Ravaloa for tackling too hard, and Jaden Sewer for I'm not exactly sure what. Sewer wasn't charged by the match review committee, but the other two both received fines. I was going to ask this one to Big T, but I might go to you, Chloe. Do you think the outcome here was fair, or do you think maybe a suspension should have been coming for one of the Dragons players?
I don't think suspension. Yeah, give him a fine. What, tackling too hard? Like, I saw a few hip drops today in a game, or even both games today, and one got sent off, one didn't get sent off. And I think we have to remember we are playing. The refs need to remember we are playing NRL, so I didn't even see any of these tackles, but like, if we're tackling too hard, if the guy's not injured, then that means it's not that hard. Okay, so yeah, sometimes I wonder.
Well, tackling too hard wasn't the official charge, Chloe. That's just my piss take. They reckon they said he tackled him high.
Oh, I didn't even see the high tackle.
No one did.
Yeah, so I don't know. See, these refs just want to like make us have no players. Oh, yeah, like wake up, Australia. Yeah, just no. I don't think it. Yeah, I just think take the fine, and then if it's that like for me, if it's that severe, and they have to come off with a HIA, then maybe. But if not, play on for next week as well. You know.
I thought the Ravalawa one was utterly ridiculous. Personally, I watched the replay a couple of times. It didn't look like it was high contact at all. But once again, the bunker apparently they get angles we don't get to see. Well, show us the bloody angles.
I know, right? Yep, I agree.
How hard is it? They've got the angles, but they won't show us. Get stuffed. they think we were born yesterday. Like, what a crock of shit. They don't have any other angles. If they had an angle showing where there was high contact, surely they would show us. They would put that out there so we can see it. Go, oh yeah, he did get him high, but there is no other angle. Full of shit. So Rubber has once again been targeted simply for the fact that he hits hard and he hurts people. He put on a couple of really good shots last night. It was good to see Rubber back to his bone-breaking best out there against the Dolphins, and straight away they've got to make an example of him. I watched the Sewer one 4 or 5 times trying to work out exactly what that was for. Again, I couldn't see too much in that at all, so he didn't actually get charged, so that's fine. I thought Jack DeBellum might have got a little lucky. He did burrow in a little low and came in late. Hit him from behind and sort of his knees buckled. I'm happy to cop the fine on that one and move on. But it's nice that once again we get through another week and the match review committee hasn't hit us too hard. New South Wales Cup moving into the lower grades. New South Wales Cup got their first points of the season with a 26-all draw with Parramatta, leading by 4 with about a minute to go. The Eels scored in the corner to snatch this draw. Chloe, you were there watching the game. Did you think this was one that got away from the Dragons reserve grade team?
I think it did. Also, I think time got away from them. I do believe before that we were going to go for we kicked for the 2, and I thought maybe we should have went for a try, but I thought it was they were both strong. I thought both the Eels and the Dragons were strong. It was just, I think this time got away from them. I really think it did.
Yeah, they led by 2 points and got a penalty that was pretty much right in front with a couple of minutes, with about 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, and they opted to take the 2 to go out to a 4-point lead. I said at the time I thought it was a 50-50 decision as to whether you take the 2, take a bit of time off the clock, but doing that just gives the opposition a chance to do that short kick-off, get the ball back. And unfortunately for the Dragons, that's exactly what happened. They Parramatta short kick-off, got the ball back and scored in the corner. Luckily, they couldn't kick the goal from the sideline to steal a win. And the Dragons will be a little disappointed to have let that one slip. But some good performances. I've already mentioned Zane Musgrove in that game. I did want to have a chat to Big T about what he thought of Big Viliami Fafita, a new player for the Dragons that came in for this game. I thought he was very impressive. Only played 28 minutes, but big body, really got up in course and damage. I think we're behind at one point getting late in the game, and he came up with a big tackle to force the ball loose and then earned the penalty to get us the lead. So Viliami Fafita, I thought was he made an impact, which is what you want from a guy that's that size, a new bloke into the club. Although his first involvement as a Dragon, he proved that he belongs at this club. He got tackled. He stood up, played the ball, chased a bloke for about 5 metres and pushed him over to give away a penalty while we had the ball.
Absolutely dead set. He is stupid enough to be a Dragon. So welcome to the club, Viliami. I hope to see you up in the top grade in the not too distant future. Before the New South Wales Cup, I actually went to the to Zeems Park to watch the under-21s Jersey Fleet side. Yesterday morning, they took on Parramatta as well. They were ultimately pretty disappointing, going down 32 points to 16. But one of the things I'd like to highlight in this one is that I was watching them warm up, and I felt that our side warmed up pretty much like an under-10 side. Very basic stuff, just catch, pass along the line. While Parramatta's warm-up seemed a lot more dynamic, where they went through some actual real match situations, some actual ball work, looked a lot slicker in the warm-up, and that's how it sort of played out in the game as well. Parramatta just far too slick for us. That said, there was still some good moments in the match. I thought Bryce McNone was very good off the bench, worked really hard. Was quite impressive. Ben Johnson and Ben Rumble seem to be developing a nice combination as winger and centre. And I like the link play from Declan Purcell, who seems to be reveling in the shift from dummy half to lock. He's going really well. With the junior rep season basically coming to an end, we should see a lot of the SG ball players coming into this under 21 side, which should make them a fair bit stronger heading into towards the rest of this season. And talking quickly about the junior reps, the Harold Matt side, they've completely stuffed it up. They've screwed the pooch. The under 17s, they were in fourth spot heading into the last round of the regular season. They've been beaten, and from the math I've done, it looks like they're actually going to miss finals, which is really disappointing. Going down to the Sharks as well in the last round, which is never fun to do. The SG Ball side, they've gone the other way to the Harold Matt side. The SG Ball side, they look unbeatable at the moment, heading into the back end of the season. They beat the top of the table Canberra Raiders last week, and on the weekend, they thumped the Sharks 30 points to 8. But unfortunately, they left their run a little bit too late, and they were relying on some other results going their way, and those results did not go their way. So they've missed out on finals as well. Jesse, I think you said the Tasha Gale Cup Steelers will play finals despite their loss on the weekend. But I think their performance on the weekend probably shows that they're just making up the numbers in that competition. I think the Bulldogs will win the Tasha Gale by the length of the straight. But yeah, you said they're in finals, mate. Is that correct?
It looks like there are. I just looked at their for and against late yesterday afternoon. It's still pretty good. They may drop a little bit, but we should know by the morning. But I think they do qualify. But yeah, it's not good going, even if they did qualify. Not the best time to losing a game right on the eve of the finals. You want to be going into finals with a win under your belt with some momentum.
Yeah. I'll actually stay with you, Jesse. I'm not sure how much you spoke about this on Tuesday, but two new signings announced, that the two middle forwards from Manly and Alec Tuatavake on a development contract, and also 22-year-old monster Viliami Fafita, with Aaron Woods getting released to join Manly. I'll ask you, mate, is this one of the best deals ever seen in rugby league history for the Dragons?
Yes, to get rid of Aaron Woods, 100%. Even today, I was listening to ABC during their coverage of the Sharks Warriors game. In the lead up, they had I don't know if you've heard of Dennis Carnahan, who does a thing called Rugby League the Musical, and he even wrote up a song about why would Manly sign Aaron Woods, and it was hilarious, freaking hilarious. But yeah, going into those two signings, Fafita, I saw him after the game last night. He looks pretty big. Something we are lacking in size. I think Hasman said he's about 114 kilos the other night. So we haven't had a decent sized front row for quite some time, and we need some mongrel in our forward pack. As for the Tuatavake, he's still got a few weeks to go. I think he's got a knee injury or something like that.
Yeah, knee reconstruction. So he had a knee reconstruction, or did his knee last year, and he's supposed to be back, I think, around round 11 is his return to play time. But whether he's going to be up 100% ready to go by then, who knows? And
and how he comes back from a knee reconstruction is always a 50-50 bet, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like to see him train with first grade. I think they'll easily been through New South Wales Cup, and then I don't see him playing first grade this year unless we have a massive run of injuries. But maybe going into next year when he's added to the top 30. But yeah, I'd like to see him get into learn the system first, and then if he plays good enough to crack in first grade, then so be it. But yeah, as for Fafita, if he can keep improving every week, I'm sure in the next maybe 4 to 5 weeks we could see him put pressure on the first grade side.
Man, do you know if that anybody from the Dragons recruitment staff has moved to Manly, or does the Manly recruitment staff need to be sent for a psych test?
I think some questions need to be asked of the Manly recruitment boys. To be honest, yeah, I think this is probably for us, it's the best deal in rugby league history, maybe ever. Why the hell would you give away two of you young up and coming forwards for a bloody washed up old has-been like fucking Aaron Woods? Like, how stupid do you need to be to do that?
Yeah, no, it's certainly an unusual one for me, mate. I can't see, and that's like, to me, it just seems so unbelievable when the news came out that when the rumor came out, it just didn't seem believable, because what the hell would Manly possibly think they can get from letting go a couple of blokes in their early 20s to sign a bloke that literally no one wants? There is not a Dragons fan that I have ever met or spoken to. Maybe Puff, he might be the only one that thinks that Aaron Woods actually provided something of value to the Dragons. He is done. He has spent, the game has passed him by. There is nothing of value that he can bring on the field. Certainly off the field, maybe he can bring a few things of importance, but on the field, why are you giving this guy a top 30 contract? It doesn't make any sense to me at all, but good luck, Manly. Thank you very much. You've been incredibly great. We're so grateful for your generosity. On that note, we might wrap it up. We might call it a night. Thank you to all the panel members for joining us. Muzz, Chloe, Hasman got on a bit late. Jesse and Big T dropped off. He's got a dinner date. He's on a promise or something. I'm not sure what's going on there, but good luck, Big T. And we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you for Team List Tuesday. Funnily enough, Tuesday. In the meantime, come on, Dragons fans, fire up!